Welcome to The Rooted Warriors, the podcast where the bonds of sisterhood are not just celebrated, but explored through laughter, tears, and everything in between. Join me and my two dearest friends as we dive deep into the roots of our own friendships, sharing stories and challenges. Whether you're looking for inspiration, advice, or just a good story, we're here to bring a piece of our sisterhood right into your life.
Well, hello, my compassionate peeps. Today we're focusing on something close to my heart, checking in on your tribe and girlfriends. In a world where we have over busy lives, it's easy to forget the importance of making sure our girls are really doing okay. Let's normalize these heartfelt check-ins and create a culture where it's the norm to support and uplift one another.
Well, good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon.
Mhm.
Here we are.
Here we are. I thought I would check in.
Hey.
I like your check-ins.
Checking in with my little tribe here. 'Cause it's important.
It is so important.
It's so
It is
important.
important.
Mhm.
How are you doing, Gina?
You know, I'm waiting for a grandbaby.
Yeah. Is that baby here yet?
9 days.
Holy crap.
9 days.
Almost here.
Yeah. You know, about 3 weeks ago, she's like, I think I'm done being pregnant. And I'm like, you're not done yet. Nobody says that yet. Like that. Right?
Right.
Usually it's more like, oh my God, get this thing out of me.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
you're
so done.
evicted.
I am so done. Right? There's more. And now she is literally like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I
She's
saw her last night. She was done.
She's done so. Like, you know when you're done.
Yeah.
Right? She's done. So we're just waiting for little Ophelia to
I
make
love this name.
her debut to this beautiful world.
Oh,
She's going to change lives. That
she
Yeah.
one.
is.
Yeah, she is.
She's going to be something special.
She
Mhm.
is. She comes from good people.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, we have a little impromptu concert coming up. If you go to, I shouldn't tell anybody, I'm gatekeeping. If you're a vet, if you go to VetTix, I think it's vettix.com maybe.
Vet tits?
No, that's a different website.
B-E-T vet T-I-T-S
Tix?
vet tits.
What? No, vet, VETTIX. I think VetTix.
VetTix.
That
for
makes sense because it's for a
veterans.
concert.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where was your mind?
I mean, I don't know.
Tits. I mean,
It didn't mean to be. It happened.
she's all, you said it. I
Yeah.
just spit on myself. Anyway, VetTix. So if you go there and you're a veteran, people, when they buy their own tickets, have the opportunity to buy more tickets and then donate them. And they can buy them anywhere in the stadium and for any concert. And so they buy these tickets and donate them. Well, Greg will check on there and we're going to see Brandon Lake and we're going to see Phil Wickham.
I don't know who any of
I
these people
lo-
are.
So they're Christian artists.
Okay. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
is this?
Yeah.
Brandon Lake, actually, we were just, I showed him, I
Yeah.
showed you him sitting on your dad's couch.
Yeah.
Actually, Lion. He sings Lion.
Mm-hmm. And I
Mhm.
think he sings maybe the one that was show me the eyes so I can see.
I
I'm
don't-
gonna
he's-
I'm gonna
he's
Google
so
it.
many
He's,
good ones.
Yeah, he's really good. So it's just they're Christian bands. They're both of them are really great. So
It's going to be
that's
good.
awesome. Where is that at?
And I don't even know. He just was like, hey, do you want to go to a concert? And I'm like, anywhere.
Oh,
Anywhere
nice.
with you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll go.
I'll go anywhere.
my
I'll
gosh.
go anywhere with you.
I love
Yeah.
that. Oh my
Well, then he was
God.
like, we're going to a Christian concert. And I'm like, I'm in. And then he told me who it was. I was like, get out, because Brandon Lake is super hard to find. I don't know what it is. He doesn't really post his tour dates or something until the last minute. I don't know what it is, but I was already looking and I couldn't find him. So he
Wow.
found it. And we're going to a concert.
I love that.
I know. Gonna do
You've
some
been doing
worship.
a lot of concerts lately.
I have been. Concerts are like, well, I've always done concerts, hundreds
I
of
love
them.
concerts. But
Yeah.
I wore my New Kids on the Block shirt yesterday.
You did?
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
I
my
did.
hat's my favorite.
Yes.
My favorite hat.
Where'd you wear it to? Did he say anything?
I wore it to work in the morning and then all around. I changed for karaoke, but I had it on all day. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
great.
don't know, for
love
some
it.
reason, I really want to cut off the sleeves.
Yeah, and make
So I
it
feel
long.
like
like
all
hair.
this
t-shirts
and
now.
wear my
Wear a tank top underneath.
Yeah.
Yes.
A fluorescent green one.
yes, like bright
it.
pink.
Love it.
What about you, Momi? What's going on?
Let's see here. This weekend we're gonna launch our new beer. We teamed up with Persuasion Brewery out of Modesto,
Yeah.
and we have the Gold Dust Lager coming out. And hopefully very soon we have an entire line
Holy
coming out.
crap. What's the marketing and artist you have on that one? I'm only joking.
Just so happens.
Just so happens. It's us. No, I'm just
that
kidding.
it's Greg and Andy. But we have an amazing label that was just produced by them, and it's phenomenal. I can't wait to share it with everyone.
I've heard some good things about that beer too.
It's bomb.
I've heard it's so
What
good.
kind of beer is it?
It's this one is an American lager,
Okay.
and
It's a blondie.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really, really good. And Jonas is their main beer maker, and he is fabulous, or brewmaster, I should say.
Yeah. And it actually has an under label name, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And what's the name?
It's called Momo.
Of course it is. Why would he pick anything different?
I'm such a Mexican. I want everything named after me. Most average.
So Mighty Mo.
Mighty Mo.
Momo.
Yeah, I got my name on my back. You know, I'm true to what I am. But yeah, I'm super excited. And, you know, we always talk about vibes, right?
Mhm.
So when we went in with our first meeting with Persuasion, I had met Jonas, the beer maker, before. But when I went in, like, I had an instant connection with him. And I was like, dude, this guy's rad. Like, this is my guy.
Y'all, this is the brewery.
This is it. Like,
Mhm.
I had no need to look any further. I know this is it.
Right.
And Jeremiah, of course, loved their beer. And I'm super excited. I think it's going to be good for both of us.
He's been a joy to work with, by the way.
Oh, really?
I think him and Greg get along really well.
Good.
Talking
That's
about
good.
design, and he kind of gets like where Jeremiah is coming from, and
That's good.
he's super masculine. Like
Yeah.
Jeremiah is very
Right.
masculine,
It's
so he
good for
kind of
them.
gets that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's been fun. It's a fun
funny because
project.
they're both like very masculine, but they're very creative, and you know, like they just get certain things. You know, they're good on
Yeah.
details, and
It's you know, it's interesting because you wouldn't on paper or looking at them, you wouldn't think that they would get along so well. But Greg, honestly, Jeremiah's an alpha.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's kind of
it's mutual respect.
exactly. I
Mhm.
think he just knows he's a businessman, and
Mhm.
regardless of his age, he knows what he wants and what he's looking for.
And he's very assertive about it.
100%. And he
Yeah.
doesn't.
I don't know where he gets that.
I wouldn't have any clue.
He's like your mini me.
Yes,
He
He
is.
is like your mini me.
Sometimes I hope that he's like ends up a little bit more like Bob, but he
He's
is a
so
lot like me now.
decisive.
Like, yeah.
He's really good at
So,
that. No, it's been a joy, and we've really enjoyed this project. It's
Yeah.
been one of the more fun ones.
Well, we love what you guys produced. I'll tell you what, our family
Aw.
has been raving about that label. It is next
Aw.
level. So yeah, so that's what we have coming up. It's a kind of a fun business thing that's coming up.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. And I really love our check-ins.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that since we started doing this podcast, I feel like there is so much growth individually and then together,
100%.
you know? And it's like our little tribe, you know?
It just feels so much more present
Mm-hmm.
and into what's happening right now versus where I was months ago before this started.
I feel like a different woman.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well,
In a good way.
I didn't want to sound weird saying that or be like, I'm a new woman just because of the last 4 months, but that's sort of what it feels like. It like made me hone in on some things that maybe I needed to kind of look at or take care of. And thank God for this podcast
Mm-hmm.
and for you girls with everything that's going on in life.
That's how I feel,
don't
too.
even know what I would do.
Yeah.
I'd crawl into my bed under my covers and pull them over my head and be like, never mind.
That's how I sleep, with my covers over my head.
You're lying.
I swear.
You sleep under the blanket.
Yeah, I did it ever since I was a little kid.
Oh, that's so
monsters?
cute.
Yeah, from our head real monsters.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna make me cry. Poor Mo. Well, that's what this whole thing is about, isn't it? Is checking in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all has to do with making sure that those that we love are really doing okay on the back end.
Yeah, and the ones that you kind of don't think about as far as being worried about them, like the strong ones, the really happy ones. A lot of times that's people masking too. And, you know, everyone needs to be checked in on.
Mm-hmm.
When someone says, "Hey Gina, how you doing?" You're
I'm
like, "Oh,
good, thanks.
yeah, I'm good." You just blow it off. Kind of.
Great.
But
Yeah.
why? Part of it is you don't really necessarily know if they really want the truth or they're not
Right.
really your tribe.
Right.
So, like, I mean, the importance of really sitting someone down and being like, hey, how's it going? And really wanting to know more about them, or not about them, but what's going on in their life right this very second. They're so good at hiding it. You're so strong that you
Mhm.
very rarely say anything that's bothering you.
I think that from my mother's daughter,
It's
Quite
right?
coming up
honestly.
more and more every day.
And
Right?
I think I do a really good job of just shouldering,
Right.
just
And stuffing.
stuffing.
Mhm.
Not healthy.
Later, you'll just
But sometimes I have a motor mouth and then I walk away and I'm like, did I
Right.
just say all that shit? Like, you know what because sometimes it's just like, blah.
with your problems, you mean?
Yeah, sometimes, and then you walk away and you're like, "Oh,
Shouldn't have
again,
said
I
it.
didn't do it out of anger and I didn't shoot anybody, but I vomited
Well,
all
we were
over
just talking
them."
about this. I
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
yeah.
he's dead.
Yeah.
Well, we just had someone ask me, like, so how are you doing?" And I literally was like, "Well, my boys just left." Like, I really got into it, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that was probably more of a superficial, like, hey, how's it going?"
And then sometimes that person that's asking you is very superficially asking you at just the wrong
Wrong
moment. You're like,
It all
right?
started in 1993.
You go down memory lane with these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, part of it is you don't know sometimes who you can be truly yourself with.
Right.
And so, how do you ladies recommend that we check in with the people that are actually part of the tribe, but even ones that are more acquaintances that you still care about?
Mhm.
And how do you check in with these people? What are your guys' recommendations?
Mm.
Well, I would say be genuine. Maybe take some time to think about it. Don't just kind of throw something out there. You would want it to really come from a place of authenticity. And maybe just start with a simple message. It doesn't even have to be a phone call, it can just be a text message. Sometimes it's easier to put your feelings down in a text than it is to say it when you're put on the spot. So maybe if you're just like, "Hey, how you really doing? I know something happened to you," or if you're just like trying to be positive and you drop them a positive note, or just let them know that they're not alone that particular day. That's like the
Yeah,
thought that I had, is just it's lonely out there.
it is lonely.
Mhm.
I like
Mhm.
that. That's really good, Andy.
Thanks.
It is. I mean, I would pretty much say the same thing. Like, just my mom was the best, like expert level at checking in,
Really?
checking in on everybody,
Oh.
everybody. She was the best at, let's plan this. Let's do lunch. Let's
So
have
true.
coffee. Let's have breakfast. Let's go get our nails done. She was the busiest
She was
person.
like team mom.
Yeah,
Team mom.
at
Wow.
reaching out,
So she
you
was like
know?
encouraging self-care. Like she was like trying to take you to go get your nails done and make sure that you were still taking care of yourself and asking you how you were doing.
No, my mom was just trying to get out of the house.
She's trying to
Let's be
escape her
real.
She
dad.
She
was
just didn't
just
want
trying to escape, but escape with her people. She was so good at it.
She was like, I'm really bad at it. That's something that is one of my definitely one of my negatives is I'm not good about that at all. I get super absorbed with work and my children and all of that so often I am not the check-in person. I'm just not. And Gail was tremendous at it. Gina is tremendous at it. She always has been the one to call, text, make sure that, you're still alive, right? Like everything's okay, right? And I valued that. But what's sad is that I wasn't the person to reciprocate that. And I think, man, that is a failure that I had my first 45 years. So the rest of my life, I'm going to do better and not do that anymore. I'm going to start gleaning from the other women in my life that are really good about that.
Mhm.
And I'm going to make a list of women and people that are in my tribe and some that maybe aren't necessarily in my tribe, but I still want them to be part of my tribe
Oh, I
Mhm.
like that one.
and reach out to those people in some facet.
I think we don't have a lot of time and we're too busy, or we just think not that we're thinking that at the moment. That would be very, selfish. I just meant that I think if we were to plan it maybe a little better, like when I'm in my car and I know I'm going longer than 30 minutes, I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to call such and such and such and such. And I'm just going to check in or send a text message before I leave or whatever. But just, it doesn't always have to take time away from you. It can be just in a relaxed setting when you're on the road already, throw your Bluetooth in and check up on a couple people. Cause I find it hard too. I
Yeah.
just don't think about it.
I feel like it's like more than that though. Like I have time for TikTok, even when I'm hecka working all the
Right?
time and
Exactly.
Mhm.
I have time for TikTok. I have time to come home at midnight and binge watch 100 things. So
Mhm.
why can I not put a note in my notes that's a message for somebody and then in the morning send it off? And it is a form of being selfish. And I'm like, wow, like I need to be better about this. And
Oh,
it's funny because when Bob and I were in Scottsdale, we were having a pool day one day, and there was a Kenny Rogers song that came on. That was a song that I used to hear all the time with my best friend growing up, Teresa. And I was like, man, I haven't talked to Teresa in like 5 years. So I went on Messenger and I told her that that song came on, made me think of you. Hope you're doing well. And she messaged me back like a couple days later. It was like, oh, I haven't heard that song in forever. Like, thank you so much.
see?
And we live completely different worlds, completely different lives. But for now on, when moments like that come over me, I'm going to react.
Make a move.
Mhm.
Make a move, Mo.
A minute ago, one of the first things you started off with was most people think that we don't have time. And like, that's huge if you think about it, because we don't have time. Who knows if we're going to wake up
That's
tomorrow?
right.
It's now. It's
Or make it
being
home.
present now. Exactly. I remember working, and so me and my mom used to work opposite shifts, but she called me every single morning, and she would always end with, "Okay, have a good day." And I would be like, "Okay, bye." Day after day after day, year after year, always, "Have a great day." "Okay, bye, mom. Love you, mom." "Okay, bye. Love you." And I remember being at the pizza parlor, and this was right before she got sick. And then um her calling me and then her saying, "Okay, have a great day." And I was like, "Okay, I love you. Bye." And I literally like sat on the floor in the kitchen, and I was like, I never say that back to her. Have a good day. Never. Right?
Yeah.
And we don't know when we get to say that again.
Right.
Right? Like, I think about my mom and I think all the things I could have said, all the things I could have done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that is one of the great lessons, is what we say matters. Checking in matters, you know? I try, like when I talk to you and shit's hitting the fan and how can I help you? Can I come over and help you?
Right.
How can I help anybody, right? Like, how can I make your day easier? What can I take off of your plate? What do you need from me? Type of thing. And I think, you know, all those things are important. Like, Becca called me a couple months ago, and I haven't spoke to her in 3 years, since the day of my mom's funeral.
Is this your
Wow.
high school best friend?
This
Yeah.
is my best friend from when I was
Ever.
even younger,
Oh,
right?
okay.
But we've always gone up and down and up and down, and she does this thing where she leaves and doesn't speak to me anymore. There doesn't have to be a reason. She just doesn't talk to me anymore.
Life. Mm.
And so out of nowhere, she called me, and I was like, "Who is this? What is this? Like, what's wrong? What's happening?" It's been 3 years, just out of nowhere. And she was just very nonchalant about our conversation. It happened to be right in May with everything that happened with Maddie. So it was literally like 2 days after everything happened with Maddie. And it was like I was motor mouth, and I was just telling her all about my life because she was asking questions and about the kids and about the grandbabies and about this, and talking about Adam and all these things, right? And just I was so excited that she called me. And then she was like, "I've got to go. I'm going to work. I love you. I'll talk to you later." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I spent the whole time talking and I didn't get to
I
hear
didn't ask
anything.
you. Yeah.
It didn't. Yeah. Cause it was just like, she kept asking me questions. How's Marcus? How's your grandbaby? How's Anthony? How's Xavier? What's going on here? How's your coffee shop? So I'm just constantly asking, thinking I have forever on the phone with her. And we text because she had to go. So we text pictures of our kids back and forth. And then I called her and no answer. And I've called her and no answer and no answer and no answer. And finally I was like, this is bullshit. This
Answer.
hurts my heart. And so I called her daughter and I'm like, what is happening? Don't come into my life and then disappear again. Like, I was so excited, you know? And then her daughter was just like this and that. And like, it's been so hard and there's so much struggle and this and that. And I can only think that that is it. That's when we need
Our
somebody
girlfriends.
the
Yeah.
most.
Right.
Instead of like going inside, I wish. So now I just call her and leave messages.
She'll
She
listen
she
to 'em
doesn't
later.
answer the phone. But like like that, instead of like shrinking inwards and just like thinking that there's been plenty of time in my life where I've been in the worst relationships. And this woman sitting next to me wasn't, I mean, has for me at the time has everything. Her life is perfect. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And I don't feel like I can bring all my, even though I did all my all my dirt out, and not feel like a piece of shit.
Because it's not as pretty as hers.
Yeah. And hers was always so beautiful and lovely from my side, right? I didn't know the deep and dark, but if there was, I don't know. But she's always been by my side
Mm.
through my uglies. And I don't know why I can't be that person, her, but reaching out, like that's where it's at.
But
Yeah.
maybe you were that for her. Maybe she didn't really want to necessarily talk about herself, which is why she called you, is because she needed some sort of joy in her life.
Mm.
So hearing about your life made her happy. And so hearing you ask her questions maybe about her life, maybe it was time to go kind of thing. And it was just better for her to hear a
Yeah.
happy and give her something to look forward to and know that you're doing good
Mhm.
or whatever. But I get what you're saying totally, because that's
Well, I miss her just in case she's stalking me
answer your
and
phone.
listening. Answer your phone. I love you.
We're talking
Answer.
about you, Becca.
Mm.
What about you guys? Like when you're going through it, don't you feel like you kind of draw in as well? And when people, from your past, friends that you see once in a while, when they try to reach out to you, how do you guys react to that?
Mm-mm. I mask.
Yep.
And if I don't mask, then I don't respond. Almost always.
Same.
And if I do respond, it's not till later when it's genuine and I am responding to be genuine and authentic. And I'll say something along the lines like, I couldn't respond at the time. Thank you so much for your message. It meant the world to me, but I couldn't at the time or
Right.
whatever. But that's just the way I work. If I can't play it off, then I just don't. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to bother anyone. I think that's more it. I turn inward.
That's exactly how I feel. I don't want to burden other people with any of my thoughts. And maybe they think my things are insignificant, even though they really bother me. Maybe they're like, that's silly.
No, they think they're pretty and that you don't have any.
Right.
Mhm.
So that has been a problem for me
Mm-hmm.
where, when I'm in the thick of it, I draw away from everyone. I
Mhm.
don't want them to know what I'm going through. As a matter of fact, when my brother had killed himself, I was a mess, obviously, and
Right.
I wasn't returning a lot of phone calls, and I was a mess. And so Gina texts me and is like, "Hey, I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to get you." And I'm like, "The hell?" So I'm
Don't
like,
leave me alone.
"Oh, I know,
just
I
wanna
want to be
listen."
miserable." So she showed up and she took me to a park here in Ripon, and we just sat there and we cried, and it was beautiful. And it's like that's what friends are for. you know, um, she asked me a couple questions to help kind of bring some stuff out of me. And, you know, right then and there, I was like, yeah, like this is my person. Like this is definitely one of my main people.
Right.
because nobody else gets it like that, you know.
Right.
And I had just recently, you know, kind of a big family thing, and I was a mess. And my first reaction was, I need to go to Gina. I need Gina. I need to
Right.
go to her. And, you know, I'm bugging her on a Sunday when she has her grandbaby and she's having family time. And, you know, she didn't think twice. It wasn't like, yeah, like right now's not a good time, Mo, for your bullshit. But, you know, she let me be there, and we're chatting it up in her granddaughter's room while she's taking a dump on the potty. And, but, you know, there's no replacement for that. You know, when you have friends that truly care and truly see you in your ugly, just like your significant others do, it's important. And, you know, I want other people that are in my tribe to feel like I feel when I'm in the presence of certain people like Gina. And so I really want to start being accountable to this and really checking in.
I like that. I also maybe take the time in the moment right now that sometimes we get lost and we just don't think about it as selfish as that sounds. A lot of times we put ourselves out there, hey, if you ever need something, I'm here. And you if you ever need to talk, I'm here. We don't really think to keep saying it. So honestly, like all of Gina's friends, all of Mo's friends, all my friends, family, if anybody's ever out there,
We mean it.
we mean it. It
Yeah.
means in the middle of the night. It doesn't mean that because I haven't said it in the last month or the last week or the last year, even. We're here. There's
Yes.
never any reason to feel alone. You know, just as we know that you're there, we're there for you. And so it doesn't have to be that way.
The good thing about that is it would be like when we were in the salt room,
Yeah.
right?
We've
So
talked about this salt room. We talked hella shit about the salt room initially,
yeah,
but we love this salt room. I don't
Yeah.
know why. We keep going back to this thing.
it's
detoxes you.
it is detox, and then it's so there's something very spiritual about it. It's just you're very I don't know the word, but it's just it was a good place, and it was a good place to be.
We're connected.
But sometimes, like for me, if I'm really good about like my kids coming to me with something and I'm like, "Hey, let's go ahead and put the shoe on the other foot." I'm really good at that, right? And how would that make you feel, or this or that, or looking at I feel like sometimes when you're not emotionally involved inside of somebody's world,
You see it so much better.
you see it so much better, and you can be that person that is like, "Okay, I'm emotionally disconnected from this. So I see it different than you do because you see it loud and with all this emotion and all of this stuff
Mhm.
where I'm not." And I can sit and listen, and then I can say, "Hey, this is what I see, and maybe it's this and maybe it's that," you know? And then it just opens up that person's eyes to something, you know? So sometimes it's it's good to check in and get somebody else's view that's not inside that and emotionally connected with that. And
For
you
sure.
might get little tidbits of, I'm going to take this home because, you know, that, you know, this could help, you know, or
Right.
having real and raw friends that are going to tell you the truth that you need to hear.
And sometimes, you know, and we talk a lot about friends and like best friends, but sometimes that checking in doesn't have to be from a friend. I was seriously going through it, and the principal, who I've never met before, new principal at my son's new school, or was going to be his new school, knew that my son had left and went back to his dad's house and put herself on the line. She is very put together. You can look her up. Very put together. You would never guess this about her, but she said, "You know how many times my daughter ran away? Not once, not twice, 6, 7 times. I worried. I was sick. I thought I was going to die, you know, all these different things. And in the end, she became a teacher. She fell in love. She had kids and got married and had kids. And she said she'd never do any of those things. And I thought our relationship was over at that time, when in reality, it wasn't. And just stay positive and keep praying, and, you know, like always be there when he's ready to come back, like the prodigal son kind of thing. And maybe have a good talk about it, but arms open type thing. But move forward and really keep growing. But that came from a woman who has never met me before. She didn't have to say all this to me. She was just
Mhm.
talking to some mom who wants to know if our kid is going to their school so they can prepare for him. But she didn't have to do that. And she
Mhm.
took the time. It was maybe 5 or 10 minutes. She turned it into about just take a good look at us. You know, we're married, we're still married, and our daughters still did this. So you can talk about broken relationships and divorce, but it's not always from that. And it's
No.
not always because of parenting. sometimes it's things that happen in their life or that are going on that make them choose those things.
Yeah.
So hearing a total stranger reach out to me like that and say, like, I know you're not doing okay. Like, go ahead. Like, how are you really doing?
Tell me how you're really doing.
Right.
Yeah.
But and you said it to me too.
Yeah.
The last time I saw you last weekend, this week, asked me how I'm doing. No, how are you really doing?
Right.
And that meant a lot to me. And she didn't have to, like I said. And I
Right.
just would have stuffed it back down and pretended like I was super strong and kept laughing on the phone like it was no big deal. When in reality, it just took someone taking the moment and making a significant difference.
Right.
It's so simple.
It is simple, but yet
Profound.
so often we don't do it,
It's true.
you know?
Maybe we think that our words won't be enough.
Yeah.
Like, what do you say? When in reality, sometimes I don't need you to say anything.
Yeah. Just be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to say that I challenge all three of us and our listeners out there to maybe just write down today 3 people that you can check in with and take that TikTok time or that Facebook time and check in with them, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a text message, whether it's one of those little gifts or whatever they're called, check in and reach out to somebody.
And maybe it's not someone who's so obvious to you that needs to be checked in on. Maybe it's somebody who looks like they have all their things together. They look so strong or they look so happy. Maybe there's something more to that. And maybe they just are waiting for their tribe to reach out and ask them how they're doing so they can open up.
Yeah.
So after we do that, let's have like 60 days from now where we do a check-in with each other about our check-ins with our other friends. And let's talk about how that kind of worked out for us.
Noted.
Noted.
Let's do it.
All right.
Absolutely.
Awesome. As we close today's episode, remember, friendships are like plants. They need regular care and attention to thrive. Whether it's a quick weekly text or a monthly catch-up, these check-ins keep your connections strong and your hearts full. This is Mighty Mo encouraging you to feel blessed,